very fun, no problem. Maybe even to save time, we might just use you for a few. Okay, so turn and face this way, sitting up. It's called shoulder massage. Everybody loves it. It's just yummy, and you'll see why in a minute. Come forward just a little bit. You're going to take an overhand grip. Okay? Now, I'll just show you the choreography, and then I'll tell you a couple of the hints about it. All right? It's simple. Straight arm press. Bend the elbows, pull the bar into your hips, slide the bar up your back, and stretch it out. Down. And you have a name for it?
No, you did it on long back.
Long back
stretch.
Yeah. Long back stretch. So there's a standing one.
Yeah.
But it's not done with the roll-up bar, although you could do it with the roll-up bar. So any of these where you could do it out here, you could do it out here. So remember I mentioned for a lot of you guys, I was here, my client Tomo had no hip. Right, and so he couldn't sit. When he first came to us, we were like, oh, what are we going to teach him? Because you just try to think of how many Pilates exercises there are that don't involve hip flexion. You know, so this kind of thing was great for him. Really nice for any of your elderly clients who are who need more strength, more of this, more balance, more everything. The standing is easy. So if it can be adapted to standing, go for it. Okay? So straight arm press. I swear, here's what's going to happen. You're going to be like, sure, I get it, I get it, I get it. Then you're going to stand up to teach it, and you're going to be like, I don't get it. So one more time, straight arm press, bend your elbows, roll it up. So it's a square or a circle. And then you reverse. Lift it up, bend it in, and you decide, and that's going to be based on your personal range strength and the strength of your springs. Our springs are a little heavier than this.
So are you pulling straight down and then bend? Or were you
Two directions. So she's doing the reverse now. Now she's doing straight arm lift as high as you can. Bend the elbows as high as you can. Curl your knuckles forward so you don't end up kinked. Press down and get really tall and stretch it out. Okay? Don't know for sure what the breathing is, except that it makes a lot of sense that when you're in this moment, this will be your inhale. Right? As you pull it up, and then you can kind of just circle it through and pull it up and reverse. It's great. So now she has good range, but she's also maintaining a nice organization here. So some people are going to go wide because they're so tight, and some people are going to go like this. Okay? So we'll usually say your hands probably be a little wider than shoulder width for most people, but not too wide. Unless they have to be, but ultimately if they don't have to be, a little bit wider than shoulder width. And then when you bend, try to bend the elbows straight back or even a little bit out, especially for anybody who tends to collapse. And then you'll get even a bigger stretch through here. All right, it can be done for almost everybody. There's always an exception. Right? The standing can also fill in that gap if the exception is they're too tight to sit in this. You could even, if you have the sliding bar or other ways, you could do it kneeling. It's a little unstable that way, but that actually could be okay if nobody has a knee problem, right? But this is the only way it's actually shown on the film. Okay, so shoulder massage. Yeah? Okay. So now you're going to do a quarter turn and face straight front. You scoot back, I always say like about 2/3 back. Your legs will be straight, right? But they won't be terribly supported, and that's tricky. If you have, pole systems with low mats, and you have people who can't handle that, they certainly can bend their knees and put their feet flat. If you had a fit ball, anything, you can support the feet. Because the hardest part on some of these exercises is actually sitting in the flexion for some people. Okay, so now, side arm curl. All right? You're about 2/3 back so that you can take this bar dead in the middle and it will be ever so slightly in front of you. Does that make sense? So your hips are a little bit further back than halfway, so your hand can be halfway. Okay? This hand, technically out here, we find it's kind of nice because it sort of counterbalances, but also for some people we find just some fingertips on the mat are good. All right? Not a circle. Confuses people. You just curl in and out. And this one, Joe, is like, and out, so you know that is the great one for sure. You breathe in, and out, right? This one also easily done standing.
And other hand is floating?
Other hand is out, technically. Watch for this, because this is what everybody does. You just stick this. I say your arm needs to be like the branch of a tree and not the branch of a snowman. Right, so this is actually kind of a hard position for a lot of people, right? It's not a ballet position, but it does have lifted, no, as we would say, no lunch lady arms. Just lift your triceps up. Yeah, okay. Strong fist. A lot of this material has a fist. It's a strong fist. Remember, Joe was a boxer. Okay, and then you can flip to the other side. That's all it is. You can do a straight arm press, because sometimes, strangely enough, that curl is actually confusing to a lot of people. And proportionately, if you have a really long spine and short arms, or conversely, a really short spine and long arms, it does make a difference, right? But you really are basically curling it in. I tell people if they have a ring, don't scratch the equipment, but you do want to go pretty much right along the mat and into your hip. And you can give yourself a little pause right there, push down on it and lift up off it, and then come back. Right? These are not terribly heavy springs. If your springs are not kind of oomphy enough, because some of this stuff, as we get moving, you got to have a little more lift from your springs. These will be fine, but they're not really buoyant. You might want some new ones. These also do take a toll on your arm springs. So, you know, we teach this material a lot. And our arm springs, which are the balanced body ones that were specially made for our center line, are gray. If you need some really strong springs for this material, because you end up teaching a lot, those gray ones are really nice. So make sure your springs do that. You hear that? Make sure they do that. Because if they do that thing where it's more like that, they're done. Yeah. Okay. These is the arm springs and the leg springs. The actual stretch tension isn't necessarily that different, but the spring is much stronger than a leg spring. These guys can actually stretch out and never come back. So, you know, just know, because some of this material, especially if you're using big guys on it, I've had a guy actually just pull the spring out and then that was the end of the spring. So, all right, so turning to the other side just so they can see. So she's facing back, right? 2/3 back. Sorry, it's okay. Nice strong fist right in the middle of the bar. Other hand out to the side or down on the mat. And then you just inhale, fill the lungs. You stand onto the spring and you exhale it out. You stand onto that spring and you exhale it out again. Yeah, we'll usually do 3 to 5. Something in the realm of, you know, what you know to be kind of standard Pilates reps. Shoulder massage, you know, 3 to 5 each way, something like that. Question? Okay, here we go. All right, there's an exercise we're going to get to where a lot of this stuff is going to come together, and that one's going to be called the wave. All right? This has a little piece of the wave in it, so we elected to call this one this. Oh no, sorry, I'm saying it wrong. This one is called the seated water wheel. So some of you may know an exercise. We called it at the Pilates Center the water wheel years ago. It was a Romana exercise. We never knew what she called it. But your spring, the distinction here is that the spring is not up here. It's low like this. Okay, so we're going to see some exercises that look almost identical to other ones, but they're usually done with the spring up here. Makes it very different. Okay, so there's an exercise. You know it, but yeah, you go down, you go all the way back, you come back up, and you arch and you go all the way forward, right? So that, we call it the water wheel.
Rolling it underneath, rolling it
Yes,
out.
rolling in and out. Okay, so then we call this one the seated water wheel, because it had sort of similar component. All right, so it's also a little like rolled up. Feet are on the poles. You take the bar shoulder width, nice strong fists. You reach forward, press down on your shins like a rolling pin, roll it all the way up your body, go all the way back to the mat, but hover, pull the bar to your chin, lift your belly and come up to sitting. Just come right up, and you keep it right on the chin.
But you keep it here as you come up?
Yep. You reach, you press, you roll, you pull it right up to your chin and get really long, remember psoas, and lift. All right.
I like this.
It's fabulous. Okay, and then you're going to actually like this spring, oh nice for this one, it's not too heavy. Inhale there, exhale back up, good enough. Right there is a perfect example of, let the spring do the spring, you do you.
Yeah, I didn't do that.
No, you kind of were like, oh, coming up, versus, oh, the spring's bringing me up. I'm maintaining my belly. I just lift my belly, but the spring brings me up. Okay? Yeah. Yes, she does reverse it. So what I'll do in between sometimes is just, and this is one of the kind of trademarks, one of the kind of hallmarks of this archival work, the low setting, you bring the bar to your chin along. Okay, so you'll see that in a lot of exercises. So then I'll just do like a flat back sit-up, holding the bar on the chin a couple times. Hold the belly, this is great for that whole psoas thing. And then come back up. And inhale. And exhale, right? So think about that huge inhale. Big, 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 bottom of the bucket first, deep exhale. And let that spring bring you up. Now, so I'll throw that in between and then do the reverse. So you go back and you start rolling the bar down, you come with, you push it all the way to your ankles, and you come back up to sitting. And you pull your belly in, and you roll it, and you kind of stay with it. So wherever it is, you're with it. Beautiful, you see how she got on top of that spring. And that's what I was saying about, if you catch it right, it's like you caught the wave. Pull it, and then up and over and through. Yeah, nice. Okay, so seated water wheel with a flat back sit up in between, and then the reverse.
So you can't be on their knees. I like that.
Yeah, it's really, really nice.